Good morning, everyone in the social media world. Kristen Kidd here, and I'm here with Lesley Shade from At Attention Dog Training. How are you doing this morning, dear?
Good. Doing good. Been a busy morning already. Getting
Yeah.
everybody fed and outside and here we are at 8 a.m. Yeah.
Let's see that mug you got.
Yep.
What mug? Dog person.
Fitting dog person with all the different breeds. Yeah.
I love it.
Cat. Yep.
Yeah, I mean, it is. It's perfect. It's perfect.
Yep.
I've been expanding my mug collection, although today is not on brand. It's not exactly on point, but it's got me feeling good. It's my luau girl.
Nice.
Yeah.
Very good.
This is when I want to chill and like I'm on vacation, even if I'm not. I'm like, it's good. It's fine.
Right. We're supposed to get some bad weather, so I like your vibe.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yep.
Absolutely.
Very cool.
So I'm so excited to have you here. We go kind of a ways back now.
We do. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's so exciting to have you here. I am so happy to share some of the wisdom that you and Dave cultivate through At Attention Dog Training. I do want to put it out there and say, and I'll probably say this multiple times through the course of our conversation, we would love for anyone that's viewing, if you have questions or comments, please share. Lesley is an expert in her field and she is here. And if you have a pup that you are struggling to keep a happy home and a happy dog right now, then that is what they are all about. So do not hesitate to toss your questions and comments in the feed here. So you have a really interesting story about how you came to be a dog trainer. I'll share a little bit about my own journey with dog behavior, because the work that you do is very near and dear to my heart personally. Before we met, we adopted our wonderful Hermanito, our Nito Dorito guy, who, as you know, was very challenging for us. So he struggles mainly with resource guarding,
right,
which is where he decides that many things are his.
Right. And interesting objects, right?
Yes. Yeah, exactly. They seem inconsequential, but they are his. They are all his. And he doesn't want to share.
Nope.
So mainly with other dogs. He's great with people, but mainly with other dogs. And then, and Nito has that. He's also reactive with other dogs, and dog selective. So he may be friendly for a while, but then they become a resource to him.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. And so he started developing these tactics of what Dave and I call scream crying.
Yep.
Yes.
Familiar.
Yes.
Noise. Yeah.
Yes. That's the only thing. It's scream crying.
Yep.
And so we were really that and many, many other things, a lot of anxiety, a lot of things going on. And we were at our wits' end, and we reached out to our rescue and we said, we're not giving him back. We're not giving up on him, but we need help.
Yeah, sure.
And the behavior support that we received at that time changed our life.
Yeah.
And it did not make Nito the perfect dog.
Yep.
It helped him develop confidence, and it helped us develop confidence.
Sure.
It also made me a much better pet photographer.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. And we've talked about that because, not to jump ahead or to segue, right? But I had a session with you for the project that you've been working on, first volume, right? And our dog Otis is my journey to becoming a dog trainer. And, my experience working with you, you can tell, right? That, comfort level, right? Otis is not, super comfortable in certain situations himself. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. I think that that's really important. And that's something that I would love to speak to more photographers about as we move forward, because I think it's trending right now to photograph pets, which is cool.
Sure.
But you need to have the tools under your belt to understand dog behavior and to understand the needs of that pet and to read that pet so that you as a photographer can stay safe, so you can keep the dog safe, and so that you can keep the family safe as well. And so thank goodness Nito has brought so much enrichment in our lives. The behavior support, all of that's to say the behavior support that we received changed our lives. He is a much more confident, much more well-adjusted guy. And then we were just able to find that strength to move forward in that direction, that concrete direction, to give him the life that he deserves.
Absolutely. Right. He gets to go more places or do more things because you guys are a team and he understands better what's expected of him in certain situations. And you know what to do in certain situations.
Yeah.
As you said, it may not be perfect, but it empowers you guys to help him live his best life.
Yeah, absolutely. And as we'll talk about too, you know, as I know that you'll share, it's never about the perfect dog.
Right.
It's about letting them be who they are, like any human being. You know, we would do this. We would extend the same courtesy to a human.
Sure. To help them live their best life and be more comfortable, because you know what you're talking about with your dog is he's uncomfortable. So you found ways to help him be more comfortable.
Yeah.
And that way everyone was still safe, but he got more opportunities. He gets more opportunities in life to live life because of it. Yeah.
And I think too, a level of acceptance that was very liberating. Sure. Accepting his limitations and accepting what he needed. Like, so in our ideal world, we toss the dogs in the car and we drive all around the country. Nito's not that dog. We joke that he's a Marriott guy. And so he's like, he shows up at a campsite and he goes, "Are we homeless?
Yeah.
Where's the couch?"
Well, you guys got to get yourself a trailer. That way you got to do both. Yeah.
We're working on it. Yeah. But anyway, accepting that was not, that's not in his gamut. Yep. And that's not like his best life. And so then what do we do next with that? So that's a little bit, I wanted to share my personal journey with dog behavior as well, mainly because I want people who are watching to know they're not alone.
They're not.
And and it's difficult. Now, I would love for you to share a little bit of your own journey to how you became a dog trainer.
Yeah. So the journey starts in 2015. So coming up, it'll be 6 years in October that my husband, Dave, who's in the photos behind me here with our dog, we together created At Attention Dog Training. And this came about one night. You know, he said, I'm in school, I'm studying bio, I want to be a biologist, but you know what? I want to be a dog trainer. So, okay. Honestly, at the time, you know, we certainly had dogs. We've fostered dogs. We had been in the dog rescue community and, you know, let's figure this out. You know, what does it take? What are the credentials? What is the licensing? How does this work? And it was super confusing because, to be very honest with you, there is no regulation on this business whatsoever. So there's no, and so that's concerning because we're dealing with live animals, and you know, in your story, your baby, you love him, you're trying to do the best for him, and so I think at first we weren't quite sure what the next step was. How do we start this business? And we fortunately found a program that Dave could go through to become certified through their program. And again, really not knowing very much, we got super lucky. Their philosophy is rewards-based, positive reinforcement, free of doing harm, in order to force a dog to comply. And so what we learned is that there's really kind of these two extremes in dog training. And we were fortunate enough that his program we selected as an educational institution taught modern dog training supported by recent evidence of how dogs learn best.
Mm-hmm.
And so from there kind of organically grew that we realized this is different. This is different than what we're seeing being offered in our direct area. We've totally realized that we probably did a lot of things wrong in the beginning without being dog trained. We didn't know what we were doing.
Yeah.
There's people on TV who suggest that you do certain things to your dog. And no wonder we all you can easily fall into that trap, right? Of doing things because you don't know. So that's hard. That's really hard for people. So we started the company in 2015, and it was just Dave, and I was working in corporate. And over time, I learned a lot just hearing him, and then I would go with him, and I would take photos and videos of his sessions, and thought, "Wow, that's really great."
Yeah.
In that time, we adopted Otis, who is a now 7-year-old boxer. He was a little guy out of the Montco SPCA.
And you were so excited. You were so excited.
He was going to be my little trainee, and everything was going to go great because, we wanted to add another dog to our home, and we, love our boxers. And Otis later developed what I would call stranger danger. So when he was about 1, he seemed to be more reactive on leash to other people and other dogs. And I didn't quite understand why that was happening. I was not a dog trainer at that time. And then this is more behavior modification rather than obedience training. So
good distinction. Yeah.
There's 2 different kind of camps, just like you would have gone through some behavior mod with your dog. And certainly obedience helps us, but we want to ultimately change how the dog feels. And so Otis is my reason for getting involved more than I was in add attention dog training, to try to help him, because what happened was, without understanding what was going on, I didn't want to take him for a walk. I was scared to take him for a walk. I didn't quite understand why he was behaving in that way.
Right. Yeah.
I was afraid that he could hurt somebody, and that it would be dangerous or irresponsible of me. And so that was my reason to get more involved and get educated and say, how can I help Otis? Because I didn't get him just so he could live in the house. I got him to be my buddy in places, just like you were, right? That's what we hope.
Exactly. Exactly. That's awesome. And so you went through the training as well, and now you and Dave run Add Attention Dog Training together. Which is so awesome. And I'm going to pause for a second and share. Sue commented. She said she's having trouble with a dog that she rescued from Harley's Haven. Sue, my Hermanito's from Harley's Haven too. My little troublemaker too. So I feel you. And she said working with him, but starting to feel we just need to accept his quirks. Thanks for your input. And so what would you say to someone who's kind of like, it sounds like they're addressing it, they're feeling it out, they're trying to decide what they need to do. But also just want to respect him for who he is. So what do you think is good to do in that kind of situation? What would you recommend?
Yeah, I mean, we certainly would be happy to connect, with her directly to find out more. What are these quirks? Right. So, some dogs just have little quirks, and sometimes they are signals that say, I'm stressed or I need help, and we don't ignore those quirks completely. It doesn't hurt to reach out and have a conversation with a certified dog trainer. To have a conversation about what quirks we're talking about. And we don't want something to get worse if we can intervene sooner to try to make it better.
I think, and I think that's that's really the help that one of the things that was most helpful to me when we reached out to get behavioral support was actually hearing what the things were, like definitively from an expert, learning what the things were that this is who he is, and this is who he's going to be, and we can work with that and create an environment of success in a world in which he's comfortable being that dog.
Yep.
And then the things that we could work toward to create a shift for him so that he could learn a new way to experience life and a new way to be. And so like we didn't like personally, Dave and I, my husband Dave, we both have Dave. We didn't know where one began,
right,
and one ended. Like what were the things that we could help create a shift for him and change, and what were the things that was like, you know, that's neato, and that's gonna be neato. Yeah. And so I'm so glad, Sue, that you left that comment too, because I think that that's so much about it. And yeah, and reaching out to you and just parsing that out and exploring that further might be helpful to her and to a lot of people who are watching.
Absolutely. So, yeah. I think sometimes it's hard to know if you need help and you're not sure what behaviors you're seeing necessarily. And so reaching out to that certified trainer who can help you understand what behaviors you are seeing, and maybe just some really quick strategies to help that dog be more successful. You may not need tons of sessions. And I wonder, you know, if that's a hesitation. Oh my gosh, if I open this can of worms.
That's true.
You know, people are afraid. And I want them to be afraid. You know, we're the way that we approach things is we want to be realistic. We want to be practical. We are, you know, we're super busy. We've got lots of clients. Our goal is certainly not to sell more sessions than you need.
Yeah, exactly. You guys
in the most
are busy
way.
You guys are busy.
No doubt.
Exactly.
Yeah, for sure.
But that's a great point. That's a great point too. And what I found too in our behavioral support was that, you know, that initial guidance that we received was more involved, as you might imagine, because there was more stuff that we were parsing out. But personally. But then after that, there have been times where we've just reached back out and been like, hey, we're seeing this. What is this about? And it'll just be like a relatively quick conversation, or maybe someone comes out and says, hey, this is good. And you're like, let me look at this a little bit closer. Yeah. And so that is, it can be so many different things too. And so that's really, so let's talk a little bit about this force-free, pain-free, positive approaches, philosophy behind attention. And, you know, why shouldn't I punish my dog if he's being a little stinker?
They can be stinkers, right? Yeah, I get it. I totally get it. Yeah, I think it comes down to a couple things, basic principles. The first being that our dogs, when they are fully grown, they have limited cognition. So we are not dealing with ornery teenagers who know better, right? In many regards, I think people can relate when I share that they are more likened to a toddler in their ability to understand and their capacity to rationalize is much lower than perhaps sometimes we expect of them. And a lot of times, some of the behaviors they're doing, they're just being a dog, and they're doing natural to a dog. And so we get frustrated as humans because they don't seem to understand our rules and regs of human behavior. And, you know, we love them dearly. Here comes Otis actually behind here, because here's Odie.
Yay, Otis.
He has to come say hi. Very good. But they don't know better. And I think that that's the first, you know, those two things, that they don't know better and that their cognition is more limited than sometimes we realize. They're not trying to give us a hard time, you know, or be difficult, right? They're just being a dog. And so we have to think as humans, how can we set them up to be successful? So we've all been there. We've all made a mistake. Maybe you left something on the counter and you got upset that your dog counter surfed, you know, left a juicy, you know, turkey breast on the counter. Yeah. Should we be that surprised that, you know, a dog whose nose is significantly stronger than ours ventured up there? Or should we have perhaps, you know, sequestered the dog away from that space?
Right.
The dog doesn't have a behavior on cue to be somewhere else. So we really want to set our dogs up for success.
Yeah.
So, you know, punishing them doesn't show them the right choice. It just constantly tells them off. right?
Exactly.
So,
And then they're just confused.
you're
Yeah.
totally confused. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
You're barking a lot, is what they're thinking.
Right? Yeah. That makes sense.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and this guy's pretty, he's pretty tall. So, when he was younger, he thought, checking stuff up on the counter seemed like a good idea. So that's our job, to teach him something else that's more rewarding to do, an alternative behavior.
Yes.
Right? Don't jump up on the counter, but I really want you to rest on your bed in the kitchen while I'm cooking.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there's good things that happen when you do that instead.
Oh, totally. Totally. Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
He's giving a side eye or something. I don't know.
He's like, I don't know, man.
I don't know what's going on. Here. I just want to be part of it. Yep.
He's so cute.
Good boy.
So one of the things, so I have a background in social work, and thank goodness I actually worked with a lot of human behaviorists before.
There you go.
And one thing that was deeply relieving to me when I worked with a dog behaviorist is that there is a lot of overlap. And I think that the thing that resonated for me was in basic human behavior, we do things for a reason. There is a reward, even if the reward doesn't make sense to everyone. Right. We are all doing things because we get some sort of affirmation, validation, reward in some way.
Absolutely. Sure.
And I mean, that's basic behavior. And with dogs, it's the same way. And so what we find is that punishing, whether we think of punishing people or we think of punishing pets, it's largely ineffective, because it doesn't address what the core reason is, like what they're getting out of it.
Right.
And so, with behavior and approaching creating change, whether it be in a human or creating change in a pet, it's really largely about addressing what that reward factor is, and what it is that they're getting out of it, and adjusting it so that it's something that isn't causing damage or strife to other humans or dogs around them.
Sure.
Or causing damage and strife to themselves.
Absolutely. Right. And we know, I assume humans, it's similar, constantly punishing your dog doesn't sound like fun. Right. And it's not fun for your dog either. It can create, more frustration for them because they don't know what choice they should be making. They've made the choice, like you said, that was most rewarding to them at that time. Right. And so, they are, always learning about their environment and their experiences. And so, they learn by association. So we don't want them to constantly be unsure how you're going to react next. Right. We want that relationship to be super strong, and that your bond is that there really is mutual trust on both sides. Yeah. You shared. Yeah, sure.
Yeah. I mean, I love that you use the word trust, because I think that that's everything in our relationships with anyone really, but also the creatures that we bring into our life. Is that it's through that trust that they gain confidence.
Absolutely. Sure.
And when they gain confidence, then they can become more relaxed. And have a more of a path to success as well.
Sure.
So that trust is everything.
Yeah. And rewards-based training, the whole premise behind it is to reward dogs for making good choices. So sometimes that means we need to set them up so that they can and avoid practicing the wrong thing. But we know that behavior that's rewarded is likely to be repeated. Right. There's something in it for them. Right. And so if it's really, for Otis, it's super rewarding to sit on his mat in the kitchen while I cook. He's more likely to get something yummy by doing that behavior than checking out what's on the counters or, right? Yeah. So we have to teach him what I'd like him to do and reward him for it. That's kind of a shift from a different style of dog training that is more punitive and reactive. We try to be more proactive so that the dog what we're looking for. Yeah.
So when we are punitive toward our dogs, what do you see that happens? Like, when a dog is punished for their behavior, what are some of the things that end up happening in those situations?
Sure. Yeah. And there's, every dog is an individual. We're certainly dealing with live animals here. And so every dog's experience or reaction to that is going to certainly, be different. But in general, we know that as they are living beings, that cortisol is likely to shoot through their bloodstream, the stress hormone, right? So they're likely to be more stressed. And so there is a lot of documentation around fallout or risks of using tools or methods that the dog finds aversive, so something they don't like. Right. Whether it's yelling, hitting, screaming, spraying, hitting, kicking, the list goes on, or using tools that engender fear or pain for compliance. So we're talking your prong collar, your shock collar, your choke chain. And remembering, just physiologically, their neck is just as sensitive as ours. So we want to be really, really careful about, what we're doing, right? And, we have many clients that come to us that, are just looking for a solution. And they may very well have picked up some of those tools or those ways to interact with their dog. And I think understanding that they don't know what to do or where to go next is really frustrating for them. So there's no judgment there. That's just what, they've tried to do to try to make it better. But ultimately, we do know that there is great risk that it may not go. And so we work with dogs who certainly, that's how they've been interacted with at different times. And it would not be terribly surprising if they've become more reactive or another behavior kind of snuck out. So we want to help change how that animal feels about their experience in certain situations. So more increased anxious or stress just in general. Or they may have become more reactive and more intense of that behavior. Right.
Yeah,
sure.
Exactly.
Yeah,
that's such a great way of explaining it. And so at Attention Dog Training, you guys are here to support so many people in the community who are struggling with all kinds of things. I know that your mission is to keep happy dogs in happy homes.
Yes.
And so tell us about some of the services that you guys provide. So run us through. What do you guys got going on?
We've got lots going on. So in our service-based business located in King of Prussia, we have a physical location where we meet with clients one-on-one or provide classes, puppy classes. So your 8-week-old puppy through our advanced training, and we're working on some new classes as well, hopefully soon, with some tricks and fun things for our dogs that have gone through our initial puppy programs. They can come back and learn some new things. We have a team of 6 professional dog trainers. So myself, my husband, and additional team members who are all fantastic. We are all certified professional dog trainers and all committed to doing no harm. And the methodology that I shared with you. So we offer services in families' homes. Obviously, we are following COVID safe protocol, oftentimes meeting outside or keeping physical distance from each other, masking up. And but we are able to get in there and help, which I think is super important. With the
absolutely.
Homes, certainly people are looking for and need that support so everyone is successful. So we offer those services in person. And Dave and I actually just launched a new business online. So we had the opportunity taking the pandemic as a lemon and making it lemonade. Using our facility to work with a professional videographer to film our entire puppy program.
Wow.
Yeah. So
that's a huge asset.
Project. Yes. Yeah. So we had the good fortune of working with a friend who works with us, our operation manager, Erica. She got a puppy, a little Labrador named Gemma. So I'll give them a little shout. And so we were able to work weekly with Miss Gemma and get to watch her grow through this entire video series.
Oh,
So anyone in the world can actually access our puppy program with over 60 videos and 100 handouts. In fact, Erica gets the good fortune of being the voiceover. So slow motion voiceover, all the editing to make it super easy for everybody.
Nice.
So Gemma and Erica are heavily involved here in this project.
Awesome. That's awesome.
So puppybootcamp.com.
That's easy.
Yeah, it's easy. And we've made it just $19 a month for anyone to access.
Great. Oh, yeah. Okay, great.
Affordable, awesome. So anyone can pop in there. You get your puppy, and we're covering everything from what to do on night 1 and what to shop for and how to set up your home, all the way through, teaching behaviors outside, leash manners, jumping, all that kind of stuff. Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome. So people can really access services that are in person, services that are online. They can find something to help them according to their comfort level. And probably the best place to start is to reach out and to you directly and say, hey, this is what I'm experiencing. And then you can figure out what's best. Yeah,
absolutely.
Exactly. Yeah. That's awesome. That is so awesome. And so we know puppybootcamp.com.
Yep.
And then where else do we find At Attention Dog Training?
Yeah. So atattentiondogs.com is best way to access us. You can email, call, or text the numbers that are on our website that are listed there. And Erica, again, she'll be quick to reach back out. Very lucky to have her to help us.
Yeah, for sure.
Appreciate it. Yep. And following us on Facebook would be great as well. If anyone wants to access us. Yeah. Social media channels. Yep.
And you definitely welcomed a new puppy into your home. And you were just telling me that your puppy has his own Instagram feed. So where do we find this new
little
furry family member? Yeah.
So his name is Sergeant Huey. So spelling out Sergeant the long way, at SERGEANT. Huey is his handle. So he's a little Labrador buddy. And he'll be helping us in our business when we do help dogs who are overreactive to other dogs on leash. So he's, take some time. We're going to train him, take about 2 years probably for him to be ready for that work. But he's going to help let Sammy, who works with us, retire. So Sammy's 9, and he's in the next year or so probably looking to slow down a little bit.
Yeah. I know he's been looking at real estate down in Florida.
Smart guy. Right?
And some real nice dog beds down there. And he's ready to retire. So
Yeah. So
we want to support
Sarge, we hope will be a good addition to our team, really, to help us and to really help other dogs. And I think that's one of the blessings of Sammy is that, when I look back at everything that he's done, he has helped hundreds of dogs to overcome their overreaction to other dogs on leash. He really has.
So awesome. Really cool.
Yeah.
I know that just restores sanity so much.
It really can. And it helps families be able to take a successful walk, kind of bringing it back to your story.
Yeah. Which, by the way, I have to say right now, I don't know if I can do this, but Nito just came back from his walk with Dave, and he's just like standing next to me. Oh, he just moved, but he was down by I'm trying to like pivot. Hey, Nito, come here.
You can see his rear. There you go.
I know. He's like, you can see his little eyes.
Oh, he's not
his little eyes peering out over here. But he was sitting next to me, and he was like, hey, have you been talking about me?
Definitely.
So that's fantastic. So wonderful. And, you and I know each other through Woman's Best Friend. And I would be remiss for us to leave without sharing you and Otis from Volume 1. Have you got that spread? Do you know where it is?
Yeah, there we go. Whether I can successfully share it is another thing. There we go. There's Mr. Odie.
Yeah, and your whole story, your whole origin story of becoming a trainer is in Volume 1.
Yeah.
there, and you and Otis.
I just love this. Yeah, there you go. This photo. Yeah. Doing sit pretty. Sit pretty.
That's awesome.
And it's so nice to have that because, you know, I shared with you, you know, right before we jumped on, having lost Lulu, who sits behind me here. Also your work.
Yes.
Yes. Sammy, hey, come here. Sammy loves to squeak toys. So we're squeaking.
Sammy's like, I got a squeaker. Let's talk about it.
I just want to squeak, squeak, squeak. Sam, come here. Okay, bud, come here. Can I have the squeaker? Thank you. This is the culprit here. So it's so nice. Having recently lost Lulu to have moments captured with our dogs. Sammy's making appearance now. And I think for me, you know, capturing and, you know, honoring that relationship with Otis in your book and being a part of that project is so meaningful because I have these great photos. Oh, someone's jealous. Here. Come here, Sam. Good boy. There we go.
I love them popping in to say hi.
Oh, totally. Yep. It's so nice to have that captured and in a book, on the wall. And I actually have printed copies of some of the photos of Otis and I from our session as well. So that, you know, I can look back because our dogs, they don't stay with us long enough. So
it has been such an honor celebrating the bond and the love that you share with your pups, both you and Dave. I met you first. You came and shared your story with Woman's Best Friend Volume 1 about you and Otis.
Yep.
And we featured that in the first book, and you know, and that was kind of where we started. And then you came back and reached out to me last year with Lulu, and Lulu is a big part of the origin of At Attention Dog Training. Which, if people want to hear that story, it's an amazing and beautiful story, and you can find it on our most recent blog entry at kristenkidphotography.com. Just click on the blog page and you'll see more of the photos that are behind you, Lesley.
Yes.
And hear that story, because Lulu is a big part of how At Attention Dog Training started. But you guys called and said, you know, we would really love to honor who Lulu has been in our lives. And so we had a legacy session and celebrated her place in your family. And then the photos that are behind you are from that. And so it's been such a joy and such an honor to be immersed into everything that represents who you are as a family.
Totally.
And
so I'm going to need a session though too, because he's feeling left out.
I know. It's like, it's time to update the family photos.
Absolutely. For sure. And the little guy. Yeah.
I know. I'm so excited. Yeah. When you said you're like, we have a puppy, I'm like, tell me more.
Tell me more.
New family member.
Right. It's a different session than Lulu's session, right? This was right before, you know, Lulu's time to leave us. So that was hard, but so thankful that we had the time and the opportunity to make that happen.
Yeah. And I think that's a great point too. What you're sharing is there's many different things to celebrate in our lives, even with our pets. And there's many different ways to honor and celebrate. And sometimes we celebrate when a new member arrives in the family, and sometimes we celebrate a legacy of a pet that's been with us for years and years and years, and we mark that time that they've been with us. And so it's many different things. And so that's awesome. So awesome.
Yeah.
So Woman's Best Friend, Lesley, you know, we're on volume 3 now.
3. Oh wow. Okay. That's amazing. Yeah. I was gonna say 2. Nope. 3. Okay.
So we did volume 2. This is volume 2. I'm gonna share today Evan, Petunia, and Tracy from volume 2. I know, right?
Yeah. Oh, look how happy he is.
I know. How can you not be happy when you see that face? So volume 2, we raised $10,000 for Brandywine Valley SPCA. But what what I want to put out into the world before we go is that right now we're working with the Women's Animal Center in Bucks County. That's who we're raising funds for with Woman's Best Friend Volume 2. And so what I want for people, what dog moms need to know today is that we're looking for dog moms to submit their stories about their bonds with their canine companions like you did.
Yeah, sure.
And because we're looking for dog moms and their pups to feature in the 3rd volume of Woman's Best Friend. And then raising money for the Women's Animal Center. And so if you are a dog mom out there who would like to share your story, have an opportunity to possibly be featured in Woman's Best Friend Volume 3 and raise money for the Women's Animal Center, then go to womansbestfriendproject.com. And you can do that and submit your story and find out more information too about the project. All you need to know is right there. But yeah, we would love for women to share their stories about their bonds with their canine companions. And again, that's womansbestfriendproject.com. And it's woman. So if you think of man's best friend, MAN, womansbestfriendproject.com. So thank you so much for joining us.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to Volume 3. That's amazing that you've been able to raise so much to help support shelter animals.
It's great. We're so excited. So far, we've raised over $17,000 for local rescues.
Yeah.
And then this is going to be the last volume for like the foreseeable future. And so, yeah. And so if there's women out there who are thinking about participating but are kind of on the fence, what would you say to them as someone who has participated?
Done it? Yeah, absolutely. I would say, take a couple moments and really reflect upon your relationship with your dog, and what your relationship means to you, and go ahead and share your story with Kristen. And if you have the opportunity to do the sessions, it honestly was super nice to just take a day and to come to your studio, spend time with just Otis. I'm a multi-dog mama, right? Yes. And so I don't really spend a lot of time with each dog. And the experience of going. And as you shared before, I think your personal journey with dog training has made you a fantastic dog trainer because of Otis's fears, right? And I'm working with him, but I felt comfortable that you weren't going to get too close too soon, or, and you were reading his body language. So I felt safe. And I think Otis felt really safe in that session. And that was a lot of fun, but then seeing the photos just blew my mind. So, because you see, you've really captured that emotion with your dog, and it's well worth the time and the investment to have that. And talking like a good year and change later, this is super nice to have, to look at, and to have the photos. You can't see, but I've got photos of Otis on our wall. And it's very meaningful. So I hope that anyone who's considering it gives it a chance.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much for sharing. Sure. Thank you for sharing all of your wisdom, all of your perspective.
Yes, thank you for having me.
Yeah, it's been so good to see you. So good to have you here, and to see the doggos as well. This will be broadcasted. This will stay on the Kristen Kidd Photography newsfeed, and then it actually will be on the Kristen Kidd Photography YouTube channel as well. So if people had to pop out, I know Sue said she had to go to work and she wanted to know if she'd be able to see it later. Yes, you can. You can see it on YouTube at Kristen Kidd Photography. So thanks again for joining us, Lesley from At Attention Dog Training. And you be well and enjoy your puppies.
Yes, absolutely. All right. Thanks, Kristen. See you soon.
Bye.